Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Ryan Garcia, I think Ryan Garcia needs to leave De La Hoya. And he needs to leave De La Hoya sooner than later. I know probably a couple years ago he just went and they renegotiated his contract. He's getting paid good money now. He's happy, but this is the problem. I mean, his image is everything. And this isn't Instagram. This isn't Twitter, okay? This is boxing. It's two different worlds. Those worlds are independent of each other. And Oscar De La Hoya, to me, is just doing a horrible job as a promoter. And I'm going to say by promoting Ryan. Now, when I say by promoting him, yeah, we know who he is. But I'm saying when you call out Tank Davis, right? Now, this has been going on for years now. De La Hoya will call out Tank Davis and then point the finger and say, well, Tank Davis doesn't want to fight. Or Tank Davis is scared. Or at one point he was saying Ryan Garcia isn't ready for Tank. And then he changed his tune. Ryan Garcia is calling out Tank. It's supposed to be having negotiations. Something happened with that. Supposedly Pacquiao wants to fight Ryan Garcia. Some back and forth with that. He's hanging out. And supposedly that falls apart. Comes out here, mixes it up with Luke Campbell, clips Luke Campbell, supposed to mix it up with, starts calling out Tank Davis again. Supposedly something happens with that. Then he goes and he's supposed to fight Javier Fortuna. Something happens with Ryan Garcia, mental health issues. He disappears, returns. Starts talking about how he's ready for everybody. Fights this guy from Ghana. He leaves first he leaves Eddie Reynoso. And starts to say crazy things about the whole camp over there in Canelo. De La Hoya is right there in the mix. He doesn't have anything positive to say. Every opportunity De La Hoya gets, he takes jabs at Canelo and everyone else. All of a sudden, Ryan Garcia fights a guy from Ghana, gets a win, less than impressive, horrible offense, no defense, standing straight up. It just looked very basic and just looked more like a guy who just has a lot of athleticism. Starts talking about who he wants to fight next. He wants Tank Davis. He'll fight everybody. Devin Haney. No one's a good fighter. He can beat them all. He feels like they're good, but he's great. He's better, and he's meant for him to win fights. So he starts calling out Tank Davis again. Tank Davis. I'm going to knock him out. De La Hoya has an epiphany. He wants to make the big fights. Bury the hatchet, mend those past business relationships that he ruined. Dana White, Bob Arum, Eddie Hearn, Floyd Mayweather. Make the biggest fights possible for his fighters. Now, and this is the thing. De La Hoya fought everybody. Okay? So, I get it that it's more business than anything now. It's all about the money. But De La Hoya fought everybody. And if his fighter genuinely wants to get in there and fight everybody, okay? And De La Hoya doesn't want that. He wants to treat it as a business and take low-risk fights where you can get paid a handsome fight purse. Nothing wrong with that, but stop calling out Tank's name, right? So De La Hoya wants to mend relationships with everyone. Now they're fighting Fortuna again. They go out there to get Fortuna. Fortuna can't make 135 pounds. Comes in at 140. He didn't really have enough time to train. He looked like somebody who was just sitting there to get a payday. Excuse me. Fortuna made $100,000. What a joke. Ryan made a couple million. So now Ryan back on there. He looks a little bit better after being the second fight with Joe Goossen. Ryan Garcia starts calling out Tank Davis again. Tank Davis, Floyd Mayweather let him know, we're the A side. You want to fight us? You're going to be at 135. Ryan Garcia, no problem. They're like, all right. So now it looks like they've all agreed on the weight and everything like that. Tank Davis is the A side. It should just be a matter of sorting out the money piece. All of a sudden, De La Hoya, again, something's going on with Tank. Tank doesn't want to fight. We can't get a hold of his people. We're going to look at Teofimo Lopez. So they're sitting there, and he keeps saying can't get a hold of Mayweather, his people. They won't respond. They won't have a conversation. So they'll probably move on. He goes, he watches the Teofimo fight. This weekend, Teofimo looked very vulnerable. And I said in the video that I think I honestly feel Ryan Garcia would knock Teofimo out. So now De La Hoya is saying the ship has sailed. They're looking at fighting Teofimo in December. Now, it is so frustrating because I know De La Hoya is behind Ryan Garcia and this sudden call out of Tank Davis. Now, this has been going on for the longest. They're using Tank's name. Right? Oscar De La Hoya is the mastermind behind that. Using Tank's name, calling him out for a fight that they really don't want. Because if you think about what De La Hoya was saying, especially a few years ago, Ryan Garcia is not ready for Tank. Tank is a beast. Tank is a monster. We don't want that fight. Yeah, he can say he wants it, but basically De La Hoya was saying, I'm going to think for him. And that's something that we're not going to do, is set him up for that kind of failure and vicious KO or putting him into with Tank Davis. Now he's coming, he's talking about he has this $1 billion company and sell the company and investors are looking to buy his company. And let me tell you, right, something's not right, okay? And I feel bad for Ryan Garcia. I really do. I think Ryan Garcia needs to be over there on PBC. When you get a talent like that, you gotta go and get around the people who are gonna help get you all the fights that you want, where you can make real money. And also with the platform that he brings, I just think PBC can help to manage that a lot better. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Ryan Garcia is rolling with Golden Boy, but it just has to stop. It has to stop with all of this calling Tank Davis out and then giving up on the fight. If that's the fight he really wants, and that's De La Hoya, you're telling me that De La Hoya, in the position he's in, can't figure out a way to get a hold of Mayweather, to get a hold of Leonard Ellerbe? They can't figure out a way to have somebody on the team who has at least a respectful relationship with them, can go over there and get the discussions going. They should at least have had a soft contract put in place. Something to come back and say, hey, look, we tried, but right now numbers aren't working or whatever. They're just going to say, no, we quit. We're going to look at Teofimo. I'm telling you why they're looking at Teofimo. Because Teofimo looked vulnerable, okay? But it's frustrating, and I can't blame Tank for not even commenting on anything, because what he said was going to happen is exactly what happened. All of a sudden, they talked his name, they talked a good talk, and now they're just going to move away from the fight. And it's frustrating, man. It's frustrating. So with Tank, one thing we know with Tank, also Teofimo Lopez and Ryan Garcia, they're all looking to get back in the ring around December. But what it looks to be, as far as on the wish list for De La Hoya for Christmas time, is to have Ryan Garcia and Teofimo, and that would be a big win for Ryan Garcia. I think that would be a huge fight, big money fight. But I think he knocks Teofimo out cold. But it could go the other way. But just looking at how Teofimo looked, I think Teofimo needs another fight in the interim just to really stay sharp. He got hit with too many shots he should never get hit with. But there's a lot of work for Teofimo to do. But to go back in to a fight in this December against Ryan Garcia, who's been active, who's staying busy, I just think that's a problem. So you're talking about September, October, November, December. I just think it's going to play to Garcia's advantage. But the bottom line is they just got to stop, because right now Ryan Garcia is just looking like a clown, in my opinion. And he needs to get with someone who, I know a lot of people don't like Bob Arum, because Bob Arum's all about his money. But Bob Arum knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. Eddie Hearn's about his money, but he knows what he's doing. If Eddie Hearn had the opportunity, he would snatch Garcia from De La Hoya with the quickness. Bob Arum would. Even I think Al Heyman and PBC, they would welcome him over there. Ryan Garcia is marketable, man. Ryan Garcia can fight. Okay, yeah, he's a little bit quirky, his personality, whatever. He's a young kid, man. with a lot of money, but he's very like cartoonish, okay? But that's not a bad thing. It's just who he is. But he's out here, man, and De La Hoya just making this man look crazy. Just stop calling Tank Davis out. What they're doing with Tank Davis is kind of like what Floyd Mayweather was doing with Canelo. Has big fights coming up where he'll all of a sudden start talking a little bit about Canelo. If he has a fight, he'll plan a fight, start to really push and promote his fight, kind of competing with Canelo, and that helps to get his fight and his promotion some momentum. So it's smart marketing strategies, you know, on both ends. But at the end of the day, it's hurting Ryan Garcia because it's making him look like he doesn't really want to fight. But I know what it is. It's De La Hoya, and but at the end of the day, I can't blame De La Hoya for jumping ship and going after Teofimo, because Teofimo did look very vulnerable and a very basic man. So it is what it is. We're going to see what happens. But I'm telling you, man, Gervonta Davis, 27 wins, 0 losses, 25 knockouts. He holds a secondary WBA lightweight title. They better leave Tank Davis alone. That is not the kind of animal that you want to upset. Leave that boy alone. Tank Davis is no joke. But that being said, man, you know, leave your comments below. What do you think is going on? I personally think Ryan needs to leave De La Hoya. This whole thing, I was like, oh, here we go. We're going to get the fight. And now he's saying we just can't get a hold of their people. Like, all of that chaos, all that melee he stirred up. And now he's saying, oh, we can't get a hold of it. And that's just an excuse. You know, it's an excuse. It's smoke and mirrors. And I personally am tired of it. But that being said, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Shout out to the veterans, Ryan Garcia. Figure out what you're going to do, because De La Hoya going to sink your battleship, man. That's really what I feel is going to end up happening to Ryan Garcia. But I do think he'll clip Teofimo. That being said, y'all keep cool. And as always, I'm in the breeze.